supporting me by filling out the survey, signing up for Weebly. I wouldn't have been able to do this at all if you didn't give me this information in advance. So everybody should have a stack of handouts. If you don't have one right in front of you, please raise your hand now so I can give you one. Okay, perfect. For those of you who signed up for Weebly, and it looks like all of you did, please, I have very small treats here. Make sure you grab one on your way out. And then I want to let you know also that everything that we're going to cover today is housed on a website, and I'm going to share the link with you at the end of the session. So, you know, if you feel like, oh, this is too fast, I wish I can go back and look at this, everything is housed on a website. And the link is already on the PowerPoint copies, so you can access that, but I'll also show it to you at the end. Okay, that being said, we're going to get right started. And first of all, I want to let you know why I picked this topic. It was actually not me. It was you that picked it. So everyone that participated in the survey that I sent out had an input on this. And the highest topic that was picked was actually web quests. So that's why we're doing this. And then the second most requested topic was creating a class website. And the good news is after we finish this session, you'll be able to do both. So the skills are going to actually help you do both. So we're addressing most of your requests today. These are the two objectives of the workshop. The first one is you will be able to, by the end of the session, you'll be able to define web quests, describe their uses, attributes, and identify their practical uses in your classroom. And then the second one is pretty hands-on. You'll be able to locate, evaluate, and create quality web quests by the end of the workshop. So before we start, please go ahead. Behind your agenda, you will see the pre-test. You will have exactly 5 minutes or less. If you can finish it in less time, that would be great. If you don't know the answer, I'll be happy if you put don't know. It's totally okay. If you want to just do random guesses, then that's fine. Yeah, I have extra pencils and pens.
Diana, can I grab a pen for a pen?
Alright, now before we start learning about web quests, I kind of want to just build your interest to know why is it a good idea to learn about web quests. So very quickly, web quests are extremely inquiry-based and student-centered. So you're maximizing the learning time. You're putting the student in the center of the activity, they're doing the work, you're just facilitating the learning. So by doing that, you're actually using best practices in teaching. You're doing less work because you're making the students do more of the work. And you're maximizing the learning time. You don't have to worry about them being idle. You can ensure that they're all engaged in the process. It's also, depending on how you use it, it can be a form of a PBL because it's inquiry-based. It requires higher order thinking. It can be done in a collaborative way. So it can be an online form of a PBL. So, you know, you have a tool here to do that. This is one way to prepare our students for 21st century. And I'm sure you all know and see that even toddlers nowadays know how to use technology. So it's very important to help kids know how to use technology in a productive way in order to prepare them for college and career. We are also addressing the Common Core standards, and I noticed 2 weeks ago when we did the district assessments that some of the tests were asking the kids to read a web page and to be able to indicate where the information can be found. And I found this to be fascinating because, you know, web quests can teach kids to do that because it's mainly about them reading resources online, or at least some of the resources online, and then being able to manipulate the web pages and find where to go. Where should I click when I need to find more information about something? And then it's a great idea if you want to use the Chromebooks in your class and you're wondering what kind of lesson you can teach. WebQuest is a great way to teach using the Chromebooks. And like I said, it makes your life easier. I want you to keep in mind a few things before we move on. Learning something new is not easy, and if this is your first time ever knowing what a web quest is, I'm not expecting that you walk out here mastering how to use web quests. This is really more of introducing the basics of what web quests are and how to create them. And for professional development to be really effective, there needs to be follow-up afterwards. So just know that after this is really the beginning of me helping you. So if I can help you in any way by doing a one-on-one session or a small group session for the grade level or something, if you need more practice so you know how to use web quests effectively, please know that this is available. This is not just a one-shot thing. You're not expected to walk out of here just knowing exactly what to do with web quests. This is just the beginning. Consider it like an introduction. And I also have a surprise for you along the way that you will really love about web quests. So what is a web quest? It's an inquiry-oriented activity in which all or some of the resources or the information that the learner interacts with are from resources on the internet. And really nowadays, you know, we have tons of information on the internet. It's a lot more than what we have in books. So finding the right resources and teaching kids how to use these resources and using the information to make new information or to use this information in a new way, that's really what we need. It's not memorization anymore. It's more about, okay, using this information and learning what to do with it. There are two types of web quests. There are short-term and long-term. The short-term really focus on the lower level kind of skills. So they take between 1 to 3 days, and you really just helping the kids acquire some new information or make sense of it. And then the long-term web quests can be from 1 week to a whole month. So you can really do a whole unit using one web quest, and you can then involve activities that require analyzing, creating a product, and sharing this product with other people. The critical attributes of web quests are those listed on the PowerPoint. So every web quest needs to have these: introduction, task, information sources, and then a process. And I know that this doesn't make much sense now. When we go through an example, it will all make sense, but this is just the introduction. So a process, and the process includes some guidance, and then a conclusion. Now I'm going to actually let me do this quickly and then we'll look at an example. An introduction, of course, sets the stage and it provides some background information. It would be great if it builds on the student's prior knowledge. The task needs to be doable, not something that the kids would just get stuck with, and it needs to be interesting. The information sources, mostly you will be using websites or some resources that you have in your classroom. And sometimes people also use something like having the kids interact with experts, like somebody from NASA, chatting with somebody like an expert, or students don't have emails right now, so that's not something we can use, but there are other ways to do that. Some databases online, or like I said, any other things in the classroom that you have. The process is exactly step by step what the student needs to do. After they gather the information, what is it that they need to do? It should be as clear as possible and as described as possible. In the process, you want to provide some guidance. So maybe you want to give the students some guiding questions, or allow them to use some concept maps. Or maybe give them some tools like manipulatives, online manipulatives, or physical manipulatives in the classroom. And then in the conclusion, of course, you summarize everything, you remind the learner of what they learned, and maybe provide them with some extension activities. Now there are some non-critical attributes, but I really like these, and they're so easy to include. Any web quest really can be done in a collaborative way or in an individual way. So why not make it collaborative if we can? So you can really use it for group activities. And the second one is really one of my favorite, the motivational element of the WebQuest. When you give the learner a role, you are a scientist and you need to invent something, or you are a detective and you need to find clues to solve a case, or something like that. Or give the students even a simulated persona that they interact with. So for example, you have been assigned by the state governor to find information on such topic. This part really makes it more authentic to the kids, and it makes them feel that there is a reason why they're learning what they're learning. Like, it really matters. These things are used in real life. So I really like that part. WebQuest can also be interdisciplinary, but at the beginning, I advise you not to create or try to use interdisciplinary WebQuest because they're a lot more work. So you want to be comfortable first with one subject and then move on to interdisciplinary. Okay, right now, we're going to go through one example. So what you see on the screen here, this is an example of a web quest. So it's a quest online. It's basically a website. This is the introduction. I'm just going to play the video real quick just so you can get a feel of how it can be created in a way to get the kids excited about the task. Alright, detectives, you've been assigned a very serious mission to help solve major problems in your community. It has been reported to our department that you have been working hard on multiplication facts and concepts. Therefore, the chief officer selected you to help members in our community who have been struggling with some problems that need to be handled immediately. It is all on you now to use all the clues possible to help save the daily life of the community. So the kids were assuming detective roles, and they were supposed to help real people in their community that were having problems. And how can they help them with that? By using multiplication. So they really understand the concept of, okay, well, we actually use multiplication in real life, and it matters, and that's why I need to learn it. So this is the task, and I just explained the task, so we're not going to go through this again. And here we have the process. Sorry, it's kind of slow. Okay, so these are the steps that they need to follow. So if they click on the first step, for example, I wanted them to review the facts before they start learning about how to solve real-life problems using multiplication. So I put this website where they can practice the facts. And you notice how I'm using like a lot of internet sources, but I'm putting them all in the same place for the student to use. And then if they needed more practice, there was another kind of website. And here they start finding the clues. So some of the clues, for example, was an encyclopedia entry that explains what multiplication is. Some very nice YouTube videos that explain what a web quest is. What multiplication means. So this step here is where they investigate the concept. And then I put an introductory video to explain what a word problem really means, and it just explains that it's a story. You think of it as a story, and then it shows them like a word problem in action, like how somebody can use can solve a word problem through these videos. And then these are sources that they can read. So they have both options. They can either use a video, watch the video, or they can use one of these sources. And here, this is the guidance part. So not just giving them the resources, giving them some tool to be able to solve the problem. So I gave them, these are online tools, manipulatives that they can use. This is an online drawing tool. This is an array tool, and here these are just the physical normal manipulatives that I have in the classroom, and they get to choose. And here's even a graphic organizer. So they have all these options to pick from. And then this is the fun part. This is when they're going to use the information they gathered, their multiplication fact, their understanding of the concept, the tool they picked, and now they're ready to actually solve the word problem. So they get to pick one of the community members, and they help this person in solving the problem. So they have all these different people that have different jobs. They click on the link, and then they have the problem to solve. I also found out a way, later after I finished this web quest, that I can do something to have the kids submit their answers online right away. So they don't have to do it on paper. They can just do it, and I can see it on my email. So that's the process. Now, this is not higher order thinking yet. This is just application. So this is where I wanted them to take it an extra step higher. So I gave them 2 sources to create their own word problems. The first one is actually for money, so forget about it. But the second one is a free story maker, an online story maker that they can use to create their own word problem, but they have all these cute pictures and animations. Sorry, it's loud. And then they were supposed to create a PowerPoint presentation and so on and so forth. And here I also put the rubric that I'll be using to evaluate them. And then finally have the conclusion, and in the conclusion I just told them, great job detectives, you've done a legendary work saving the community, so the mayor wants to reward you, so here you go, you can choose your certificate and print it out. So this was an interesting way of concluding it as well. So this is one example. Now you may be wondering, okay, well, how in the world am I going to do all of this? This is probably too much work. The good news is, and the surprise that I have, is that there are some databases online that have a lot of ready-made web quests. So there are so many that are out there already. You can't just pick them and use them randomly. You'll have to evaluate them, and that's what we're going to do next. But what you see right there is a database, one of the databases. It's called Quest Garden. If you could please open an internet page and go to the website, and then try to search for a web quest that suits your grade level, anyone, and go ahead and explore it. And this is going to be a group activity, so once you find one, talk to your neighbor about it. And in your stack of handouts, I'm sorry, I know that I'm giving a lot of directions at the same time, but you will need the checklist that you have with your handouts. So look in your handout stack and find that web quest evaluation checklist, because this is going to guide you in knowing whether this is a good web quest or not. Now let me show you how I will find a web quest, for example. I see some of you already started searching, but if you look at the monitor, you see where it says curriculum, X-ray, level matrix. This is one of the best ways I like to use to find a web quest. So basically I'm going to click math, for example, and click K-2, and then search. And then it will show me a list of all the web quests created for this age group and for this subject. Again, I'm going to repeat this part again. If you are having a hard time because the internet is slow and the person next to you already has a web quest up, go ahead and collaborate with your neighbor. Talk about that web quest that you have in front of you, and use the evaluation sheet to see if it's a good web quest or not.
Where's the goal? Specification property.
And I remember doing the link.
But then you didn't click on it. I didn't click on to support this one.
I did it.
and then it will take you
No
to the
navigation and
homepage.
mechanical problems? No. Build on students' interests? Progresses well? Yes, progresses well. That's critical thinking? Yes.
On the side,
Content and resources are safe and appropriate? Yes. All steps and activities are clear? Yes. Criteria of success is communicated? Yes. I think it all looks
Yes, it looks nice. No navigation or mechanical problems. Not so far. Build on students' interests, assuming they're like Santa Claus. Yes. Dresses one or more of the Common Core addition and subtraction. Yes. Promotes critical thinking.
Does it build students' interests?
Is that what it was?
Does it build prior knowledge?
You are ready to help Santa with this party. Ask the teacher. Oh, okay. So it's the Santa's Christmas party paper. So you give us the paper on this page, teacher page.
We'll go ahead and evaluate.
Resources. Okay, so I guess we have to make our own.
But you see,
So that's not very.
Wait,
So it promotes critical thinking.
Okay. So no critical thinking. I don't know because we don't have the teacher page. Content and resources are safe. Yes. All steps and activities are clear and easy to follow for the student. Yes. We don't have the problem.
Does it require students using abbreviations?
Criteria of success is communicated. Yes, because it has the rubric. So if they gave us the paper, we could have actually used that.
move on to the more hands-on activity part, which you will be creating your own web quest, or the shell. Let me let me say it that way. The shell for your web quest. So hopefully by now you've gotten a chance to talk to your neighbor and look at the checklist and see the criteria that makes a good web quest. And by the show of hands, how many of you feel that those databases are useful?
That's awesome.
Very good, I'm glad. Okay, now how many of you saw that there were some things on those web quests that you wish were done a little bit differently? Right? And that's why it's a lot better when you create your own. And that's what we're going to do now. But I have to say that you can use a lot of this stuff that's already made on those web quests to create your own. So instead of reinventing the wheel, starting something totally from scratch, you can use some things. But I have to say a major disclaimer here. Be very careful of posting something on your own site if you don't own copyright to it. So in other words, if it's a photo, don't Google Photos and just take any photo that you get and post it on your site. This is a legal issue. So what should you do then? Use your own photos, or make sure you go, and I'm going to share with you some sites that has free licensed photos that you can use. So don't worry. But I'm just saying. But the one thing that you can do 99.99% of the time is link anything in your website. So any videos, any websites, you can link as much stuff as you want, because when you're linking, you're really having the learner go to the actual website, so you're not claiming copyright. So you can link as much stuff as you want, but don't post something claiming that it's yours if it's not. Is that clear? Yes. Okay. So now everybody, if you could please go to Weebly.com and log in, since you all said that you signed up already. If you haven't signed up, it's okay. It's pretty much almost the same, but this time you will have to put your full name, email, and password. And remember your password, that way you can access your account anytime. We're going to click on Site for now, because that's what we will be using most of the time. And the first thing that's going to ask you to do is to choose a theme. So go ahead and click on the first theme that you like. You can change the theme later, so don't spend too much time picking one. Just pick any one now. The first one that you like. Now, if you could please look at the monitor for 1 second, I want to point out something. See this theme that I'm hovering over? When I hover over it, it gives me an option to choose it, but it also gives me an option to change the color of the theme. So some themes give you that option. Not all of them do. But let's say I want it blue. So I'm just going to click on that. And you see that there is a very subtle difference that you notice, but some themes, the colors change them drastically. So you can play with that at your leisure and explore more. So I chose my site. Now it's asking me to create an address for my site. And that's how people will be able to find your site. So you don't want something that's too long. So let's say I'm going to just say my site for now. Of course, this is very generic, so it tells me this is taken. So I'm going to say Diana Habib 2014. And that it tells me that this is available. Now, notice this is going to be my website address. DianaHabib2014.weebly.com. If you don't want the .weebly in your site address, you'll have to sign up for an upgrade. So I don't think we care much. So we'll click continue. We don't need to pay to take out one word. And this is where you will get to. Now at the top, you see there are different tabs. The first one says build, and this is where you will spend most of your time. And then the next one is design, pages, store, settings. We're going to focus on the first three for today. And if you need more information, we can meet at a later time, work on it in more depth. So, I'm going to pick just the most commonly used features of the build section, because these are the ones that you will be using the most, and also because we don't have time to cover all these features. What do I do to add an element of these elements? You notice here you have title, text, image, gallery, slideshow, map, contact form, embedded code, several things that are really fun and fancy to play with. So if I want to add a title, for example, to this page, all I would have to do is just click on it, drag it, and drop it. Okay, drag it, drop it. So let's try here. Oh, that's where I need to drop it. You see where it says at the bottom drag, and everything looks different. So just look for where it says drag element here, and drag whatever element you want there. Let's start with the title so we can all be on the same page. So I dragged the title. I'm going to call it welcome. Did everyone add a title? Okay. Now, raise your hand if you haven't added a title if you need help. Okay. So let's add a text. So we're going to click on the text. You see where it says text, and drag and drop under the title. I'm just going to say, hello, my name is Ryan. Just add any text you want. Now, I want you to keep in mind that this looks very much like Microsoft Word sometimes when you work with it, but it really works differently because let's say they both speak different languages. Microsoft speaks a different language from a web page. So you might try to do some things that you're used to doing on a Microsoft, and it doesn't work. And that's because they don't work the same way. But working with Weebly is still very simple. Now, I want to show you something. If you click on the next to the text, you will see this bar here appearing at the top, and that's what gives you the option to change the format of the text. So if you highlight your text and click on bold, for example, we'll bold it for you. If you want to increase the size, you can do that. If you want to change the color, you can do that. If you highlight the text misused, it will come up. Have a photo.
Yes, it's big.
Okay, you can click on it
Click on it and make it.
and make it smaller if you want.
That's funny.
If you need help uploading a photo, please raise your hand. Okay? I'm moving on. I want to show you something about editing the text. If you highlight the text and you see that bar here, there's something important I want to point out. You see this TX button? This is to undo the formatting of the text. Like I said, Weebly or any web page works differently from Microsoft. So if you want to undo the format of the text, you're going to have to click this one.
TX.
Okay, if everyone is clear with these three features of the build tab, we're going to move on to the next tab. These are the three main ones because the most that you will need for your website is text and images. Is everyone clear? Yes?
Yes,
Moving on.
ma'am.
Thank you. Now let's click on the Design tab. And the Design tab gives you the option to change your theme. So halfway through the website, you decided you change your mind and you wanted to have a different theme, you can do that. So if you click on Change Theme, it'll take you back to all the themes that are free on Weebly. And then if you're done picking one, if you want to change the color, you can do, and then you click back on Design Options.
Right here.
You can also change the font by sub-pages of my main pages. So how do we do that? If you notice on the left side here, there are 3 default pages that are already on my website: Home, About, and Contact. Let's say I don't want these, and I want to change their names or change the content, I can do that. So for example, if I want to change the title of the home page to Welcome, I want to name it Welcome. I don't want it to be the named Welcome. Home. I can do that. What if I don't want the About section? I really want it to be a homework page. So I'm going to name it Homework. And I decided I'm going to keep my contact page because I want to share my contact information with the parents. I can do that. You can also change the layout. So you notice the welcome page here. You notice there are 4 page layouts over here. The fourth one is selected for the home page, which is the landing page. I like landing pages for homes, and you will notice that most websites use that style because it gives you an option to have like an introduction here on the side and then an image. So you can keep it that way, but you can also change it. You can put just a no header page, a short header page, or a tall header page. So let's click on, did everyone change the title for one of your pages?
Yes.
Okay, pick any of the pages that you have there. Well, let's add a page first, sorry. Let's add a page. What about if I want more pages than just 3? I can just click Add, and then it gives me an option to choose which kind of page I want. For the most part, you'll be using standard pages. So just add a standard page. And then give it a name. I'm going to name this one Science.
Always thinking.
And I'm going to add another one, and I'm going to name it Math. Is everyone following? Does anyone need me to come around and help? Okay. Now notice how I'm going to create sub-pages under my main pages. I want my homework page to be a main page. So I'm going to drag, and I want my science and math pages to be sub-pages under the homework page. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to drag it up, and notice that it moves up, and then I'm going to drag it to the right, and I'm going to let it go. Now it became a sub-page of the homework page.
Sweet.
And I'm going to do the same thing for my math page. So under my homework page, I have a science page and a math page. So far far so good. Should I keep moving? And before you start thinking, how am I going to remember all of this? No worry. To one of the original pages where you added the text. So I'm going to go back to my welcome page. Go there. I want to show you how to link something. So let's say I drag a text box here, and I'm going to call this math facts or multiplication facts. And I want to link this to, or let's say multiplication mission. And I'm going to link this to the web quest that I just showed you. So how can I do that? I'm going to go to my multiplication mission, which I think I closed. Anyway, I know the website. So if I highlight this, and then I click on this button right here, this is your hyperlink button. When you click on it, it will give you different options to what you can link the text to. You can link it to an external website, which I'm going to do now. So I typed up my website, and I always check open link in new window. Because if I don't check that, that means that if the learner clicks on the text, they will lose my website. They're not going to be able to come back to it. But if I check this box, that will make sure that they open the website in a separate page. That way they don't lose the original website that they're working on, but they can also open the other one in addition. So once I click save, this becomes a hyperlink. So anybody that visits my website, they can click on the hyperlink and go to that website in a separate page. What about if I want to link it to something else? Let's say it's not a website. First, you can link it to a file. Any file on your computer. If you want your kids to download a graphic organizer or whatever handout that you want them to have, you can upload it here from your computer. You can also choose to link it to another page on the same website. So, and I'm going to show you how this can be useful. One of the elements here, and I think Ms. Hughes was asking about this earlier, I can add a button at the bottom of the page. And I'm going to call this button next. That way, after the learner reads the first page, they can just click on this button and go next. But if they want to go next, I have to link that button. See how when I click on the button, it gives me this box. And if I click on the link, it's going to take me to whichever option I want to link it to. And in this case, because I wanted to take them to the next page of the website, I'm going to link it to a standard page. And I'm going to link it to the homework. If you click on it, you can pick whatever page you want. I want them to go to the homework page next. So I'm going to choose that. And I'm going to click Save. Let's see how this is going to look like. If you click on Publish, now so far guys, everything is saved on Weebly, but nobody can see it yet. How can you make people see it? When you click Publish. And it's because this is the first time I'm publishing, he's going to make sure that this is the web address that I wanted to be found under. And I'm going to click Yes, Continue, and skip because I don't want to pay. And I'm going to click this, close this out because I don't want to pay. And now I'm going to go visit my website. Diana Habib 2014.weebly.com. Now, of course, it looks awful because this is just a test. But just to give you an idea, here I click multiplication mission. It takes me right to the website. And if I click next, it's going to take me to the next page, which is homework. Okay, for the sake of time, we have to wrap up. Like I said at the beginning, there's a lot of features that you can learn. This is not a one-time thing. I'll be more than happy. You're really helping me. Don't think you're asking me for help. You're really helping me practice and helping me with my program and helping me grow. So feel free to stop me anytime, and I'll be more than happy to come and work with you at your convenient time. And to wrap up this workshop, I have to just show you the website that I told you I created. So the title of and you have the link in your PowerPoints. This is the WebQuest workshop website. Here you will have an introduction. This shows you how this workshop supported the school mission and goals. If you want the actual workshop material, you click here. Who cares about lesson plan? That's just for my requirements. You want the materials page. This is a page that you will benefit from. You have the PowerPoint presentation that I used today. You have tutorial videos here for Weebly that you can use. You have other live training webcasts. And you have how to do everything step-by-step instructions for Weebly. You also have all the handouts that you received today. You don't care about the promotional material. You do care about let me show you this part. The other materials section, these are all websites that you can get free, any pictures with free licenses. You can take all the photos that I used on this website. I used them from Pixabay, and I just decorated and enjoyed designing my website, and it's all for free. And free means free copyright. Don't be tricked by Googling free clip arts, and then you have a bunch of free ones that you don't have to pay for. Not having to pay for doesn't mean it's free copyright. So use these for now. You'll have more than enough to create your site. And then the last thing I want to ask you is to take the post-test. So if you could please find that test behind your pre-test. And please, 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 it's open book. You have all the answers on the board. You have it on the website that I just shared with you. Ask me if you need the answer. No, don't ask. But the answers are in the PowerPoint. And then I can send you the survey later in your email because it's only 2 minutes left.